Wow, y'all. So I honestly think that this was the best episode of fantasy TV I've seen in a minute. Oh my gosh, y'all, this episode was jam-packed with lore and history, all kinds of stuff. We're going to break it down. I thought it was such a well done installment. Also, real quick, starting this out, I know that last review I said that Rena was, I was like, Rena's still alive, because I was confused by what the wise one told Egwene. But yeah, the person who's alive, who's hurting Egwene in the dream world, apparently is Lanfear. I just wasn't putting two and two together. I literally saw her as Rena, so I don't know. But yeah. So I'm going to be cutting through the scenes that I feel like we can move through quickly, right? Because this episode was long, but here Lan is still asking Rand, like, what's wrong, bro? Like, what's going on? And they have a little talk, but the whole point of it is when Rand says so many things that there are so many things that I can't be. It would be nice to find something that I can be, essentially. Of course, talking about becoming Aiel, though he is already one by blood, he was mentioning before to Lan that he feels like he might never actually become one for real, so that was how we bring in the episode. Of course, Egwene comes to Moiraine and says, we had a saying in the Two Rivers about a watched pot never boiling. And I'm just like, y'all always got some sayings in the Two Rivers. That's one thing about y'all. That's one thing about the Two Rivers. Y'all always got some sayings or something. Y'all need to get some security. Sayings, security, get some security. White cloaks and Trollocs are popping up on y'all every day. Y'all got sayings for everything. It's like, y'all need armed guards. That's what y'all need. So, of course, here they are explaining the culture of the Aiel. The showrunners were definitely trying to get us to the later scenes because they were like, all right, here's a bunch of exposition, girl. We got to go to Rhuidean. Like, we got to go. But no, the wise ones are talking to Moraine and Egwene, and Moraine was like, girl, if you don't tell me what I actually want to know, girl, this ain't no filler episode. Amazon got us on a tight schedule. Moraine was like, girl, what's the tea? Come on now. So the wise ones see different paths. What is happening or beginning is more easily seen than what will happen or what may happen. So Miss Mama's over here says, we did not see Egwene, but I'm just like, girl, didn't Bear see her in Tel'aran'rhiod? Like, what y'all talking about? So they go on to say that Rand would have definitely died if he didn't come here. If he survives, at least some of the Aiel will survive as well. But then, although they say they shouldn't have really told her, they end up telling Moiraine that she would have also died if she or Lan didn't come. And they also tell her that if she doesn't go to Rhuidean, then she gonna die. And like, they acting like, oh, we shouldn't have told her. But I'm just like, honestly, girl, you need to tell me that I'm gonna die if I don't go to Rhuidean. Like, I'm already in the Aiel waste. I'm already here. You know what I mean? Bear talking about shh. I'm just like, girl, no, let her tell me the tea. You said some rings I gotta go through so I don't die. Like, girl, if I was gonna die if I didn't come here, I'm already here. Like, might as well let me go to Rhuidean as well. Like, girl, what? Let me know. So Avienda is doing all this policing about swords and tradition, and you can't touch a sword, wetland this close to the city, wetland, blah, blah, blah. Like, she even fought Lan, which definitely was fun to see. Of course, it ended in a stalemate, so y'all wouldn't get mad. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But the wise ones came out there, and she's just like, girl, what are you doing? She was like, girl, what are you doing? You can channel and you are out here playing around. Give me those spears right now. You are going to Rhuidean right now. So I thought it was cute and funny that, of course, Avienda has all this smoke for Rand playing with swords, you know, and I do too, like, you know, criticizing him for not like fulfilling his duties or whatever. And yet she had not fulfilled her own the expectations that people had around her. Of course, Aiel have, because she playing with, spears and stuff, and they're like, girl, why are you playing with spears when you could chant? Like, we need for you to become a wise one. Stop playing. So of course I love what they say. I ask your leave to enter Rhuidean. The question is asked, I answer yes. And of course they said, if you do not return, your belongings will be given to your family for remembrance. A strong mind and a strong heart are your weapons now. They will see you through anything. Come back to us. And it's just like, okay, I need to know the statistics. How many exactly? What's the number? It's like the acceptance rate in college and universities when you apply. Like, what's the number of people that go over there, and what's the exact percentage of people who come out? Y'all talking about I'm gonna give your stuff to your family for remembrance and all that stuff. Wait. Wait, what you talking about, girl? I need to see this Carfax. Get out the statistics right now. So yeah, they tell her that she has to go to Rhuidean, and Bear was just like, girl, I refused at first as well, but you know, we really have to do this, all right? So this scene here between Rand and Moiraine. Rand is just like, I'm going, and there's nothing that you can do to stop me. He asks her to promise in plain English, not Aes Sedai English, in plain English, that she won't try to do anything to stop him. He said, say that you won't use me for the tower's ends or your own. Say it plain, so I know it's true. And then Moraine says, I will do nothing to hinder you from fulfilling your destiny. Girl, that's not what he said. I'm like, that's still Aes Sedai talk, mama. That's still Aes Sedai talk. But then she also says, like, I don't know what you expect me to do. I'm not going to sit around and watch you end yourself. Put your head on a chopping block. It's just not going to happen. So if that's what you're asking for, then absolutely not. So, you know, I don't know. I'm really loving this mother and son dynamic between Rand and Moiraine. But yeah, he tells her to go on somewhere with that because it ain't good enough. I'm like, oh, wow. Oh, wow. So these immaculate shots of the desert, y'all, like, I know those days on location must have been so hard for everyone, the crew and the cast, everybody. But like, y'all, it really paid off because it makes the show have the scale that we need it to, you know? So here we learn that the very few that make it out alive, they get marked on the left arm once with this dragon mark, which looks really cool. I love how they did it. It looks really cool. And of course, the dragon mark makes sense because the Aiel are the people of the dragon, but the dragon reborn, the Karakarn, will be marked twice on both arms. This is the first shot that we see of Rhuidean, and it looks so good. This and the glass columns look almost exactly how I envisioned them to look in my head, like in my mind. So like, y'all ate that. But then the Shido roll up. I was like, whoa, and we see that Savannah comes out like, don't worry, we ain't finna scrap out here, but we got a few things to get off our chest. Now let's talk about this headpiece, mama. Like, she's really carrying all the hopes and dreams of all the Shido in this barrel she got on her head. Like, she look good though, I ain't gonna lie, like, she look good, but I was just like, she really rolled up on y'all with this water barrel on her head. I'm screaming. So they go off to the side and talk. We learn from Savannah that her husband, the clan chief of the Shido, is dead, and that her new husband's son, Moiraine, has entered Rhuidean. And Couladin over here said, if my brother fails, then I'm gonna go next. So Rand formally asks to enter Rhuidean while they talk, and I was like, wait, oh, okay. I thought we already knew that's what we was here for. We're here to do that, but okay. Couladin is like, girl, Rand ain't even got a tan, bro. You see, he ain't even got a tan. He ain't no Aiel. He presents himself like a woman. I was like, oh, wow. Oh, so we're doing that. We're doing that. Bear was like, girl, unless you want me to get the wig and makeup and corsets for you, girl, so you can be a wise one, then you can open your mouth. But until then, you're gonna need to hush it up, and that's it. When Moraine says that Rand needs to go to Rhuidean, Couladin runs at them, but the wise one incapacitates him with the one power, and Moraine looks at Egwene like, girl, maybe to say like, girl, yeah, they can channel, but I mean, don't they know that? I don't know. Either way, Moraine look at Egwene like they gag, right? So Egwene wants to go with Rand to Rhuidean, and Bear's like, girl, please, don't even play with me like that. Go back to them blankets. Go back to them blankets and sheets. You counting sheep. Your paths do not align. Y'all should have taken this as the first, well, third, fourth, fifth sign about y'all relationship. Anyway, Moraine asks to go to Rhuidean, and they let her, even though Bear was like, girl, we really should not have told you the tea. Like, we should not have told you anything. Bear was like, with too much information, you would get messed up. Like, either by complacency, because you're just like, well, it's going to happen, so I don't have to do anything, or, you know, trying to avoid what's inevitably coming. So it's just... Either way, Bear says, Moraine Sedai, in Rhuidean, you will find 3 rings. Step through any one and you'll see your future laid before you again and again in variation. You will see 1,000 turns of the wheel, and through this you will know some things that must be for you and some things that must not. And then Moraine says to Randolph Thor, In the glass column, you will walk the footsteps of your blood ancestors. Each step forward, a step backward through time. Sometimes dozens of years, sometimes hundreds. To lead is to know where you came from, to understand the blood in your veins. So they left their weapons here, and of course that ties into, one of the visions we see earlier. I love this transition here where it doesn't seem like they're like walking through the spears, but floating through them to get to the other side. It was just fun. It was just really good. Now, Moraine asks Rand if he's ready, and he's just like, girl, I'm not, but we got to do this. Right? So Moraine, we get in there. Moraine's tripping out, bro. Like, she's like, I can see threads of the one power in the fog, but they're here one moment, gone the next. Then we see Avendasora, the tree of life. Moraine says, we always knew that Aiel had it, but we didn't know where. It's said to be almost 3,000 years old. Moraine said, we used to have one just like it where I grew up. The Aiel entrusted a sapling of Avendasora to Rhuidean hundreds of years ago, a repayment of some debt, right? But Moiraine's uncle, the king, cut it down and put his throne on it. Like, you put his throne, made it his throne. So the Aiel came and was like, bro, what are you doing? They came to kill him for breaking his oath. So that's why the Aiel left the waste, and that's why the whole Aiel war, the recent Aiel war, even started. The Aiel killed the king or something like that on Dragonmount. Rand says that's why his mother was on Dragonmount. When she gave birth to him. And of course, if I'm getting this right, by then his mother had already like fully embedded herself in Aiel culture. Rand says, that's why I fulfill the prophecy of the dragon reborn, because your uncle cut down that tree. We've been connected before I was even born. And then Rand tells her, like, you shouldn't have come, and they kind of go their separate ways from here. So he steps into the glass columns, which, like I said, look amazing. It really matched my vision of it, like how it would look. All right, so the first vision we get, and thanks to unraveling the pattern for making this graphic so we can follow along, right? But the first vision we get is of Rand's actual father, Janduin, during the Aiel War. Now, I don't know if y'all caught that when he stabbed this guy with 2 spears and he spat on him. I was like, oh wow. Oh, wow. Is this the right website? So this was when he found his wife, of course, Rand's mom. Remember that awesome scene we saw of Rand's mom fighting earlier in the show? Yeah, well, this picks up right after, and they tell him, guess what? I am so sorry to tell you this, but she is dead. And on top of that, we cannot find your baby. We don't know where your baby at. So that's that. So Rand's dad was the one who found the king and Kyrian, the Oathbreaker, and killed him. But yeah, I think that the actor Yosha, like, he really disappeared into these characters. Of course, the prosthetics, I think, helped, right? But he really disappeared into all these characters. I think he did a good job. So Rand exits the vision with blood on his hands. Symbolic. And he enters another vision of his father's ancestor, Mandine, who's about to have a meeting with other clan chiefs and an Aes Sedai, Latra Sedai. So Latra Sedai is, of course, her, but, the older version, right? The version of her we saw that's younger was earlier on in the timeline, obviously. So his wife tells him, hey, like, obviously she's a wise one or whatever. She's like, hey, me and my sisters, me and my gworls, we done seen that the chiefs and all them things, like, people who don't come, people who don't agree, the chiefs who don't, their names will be lost. You need to go there and agree with what the Aes Sedai is telling you. So the Aes Sedai say no weapons can be taken to Rhuidean. So of course, this is the start of the tradition of leaving your weapons outside and not bringing them into Rhuidean. So again, we see the ring on the fingers of this Aes Sedai that we saw with, like, Luce Theron had him, like, they were walking around with them in the Age of Legends. So I wonder what it is. So yeah, she's reaching for the Sarkonin, which we know was given to the Aiel for safekeeping way back when, because we watched the episode, right? So Sis said the last people who were truly Aiel, they're all dead now. That is why you are here, the people who built this city, who planted this tree. And then she asks them, why do you not carry any swords? And Mandine says, because it's forbidden. But you don't even know. She's like, you don't even know why. You know, there's too much you don't know. So whoever's going to lead, you got to come to Rhuidean to learn where your ancestors came from, learn why you don't carry swords, learn about the oaths that y'all made and broke. Like, everybody, wise ones and clan chiefs, what I mean by everybody, everybody who wants to lead, need to come here. So she tells them about the Karakarn, and then she channels, which looked really cool. Those threads, yes, raising up the glass columns, which was an awesome sight to see. And she said, your chiefs will go through these columns and walk the footsteps of your blood ancestors, see the world through their eyes, and know who you were and who you are. Know why we, Aes Sedai, call you oath breakers. Mandine says, okay, girl, I don't care. Like, let's just go. Like, we ain't oath breakers, so I'm not scared of my history. So we go back even further to an even earlier ancestor than that, Luwin. So at this point, the Aiel had not yet become violent, right? They were all living by the way of the leaf. And so Luwin's got the Perrin and Mat Tethereds who are looking at a small tree that holds the Sakarnan. And of course, their people were promised, or they promised their people, they promised to look after it. That's why he says, you know, it's from before the breaking. So Luwin's mama gonna come to him and say, oh, girl, guess what? They done took your sister. These bandits, they done took your sister, girl. She moping and pouting. So you coming to me moping and pouting about the sister being gone. My sister be gone. But you mad when I go get her? All right. So, I mean, if you tell me something like that, you can tell me that right now. I'm going to get every weapon I physically can hold in my hands and maybe some that I can grip with my feet. And I'm going to go get my sister. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But of course, the way of the stupid crumbling leaf says they can't go rescue her. You know what I mean? They people talk about some girl, everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. All we do is just bury our dead bodies and just keep going. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Oh my God. So of course I'm watching this scene like I haven't read like what happens in the books already, but I'm watching like, bro, I would sneak out at night to go get her. And that's exactly what they come up with, right? Like, so they go get it. When they get there, the girl's talking about, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I can't get up. Oh my gosh, I just help, I'm falling and I can't get up. Life alert. I'm just like, girl, if you don't get up right now, that's what I was saying when I was watching this the episode. I was like, girl, if you don't get up right now, my mama gonna kill me. The whole village gonna kill me for coming already. Y'all need to come on, bro. And they lollygagging and stuff. Your face already carved open. Let's go, bro. Let's go. So of course they trying to get them out, but Louis ends up killing someone. And of course the black actor was the first one kicked off set, so they got him out. Let me stop. Of course, the Perrin Tether died in the process. Let me stop. I already told y'all about that dark skin stuff. And he ain't even dark skin. Anyway, everybody's gagged like, oh my gosh, you really killed him. Oh my gosh. I'm like, girl, yeah, what you mean? What you talking about, bro? Yeah, I killed him. And I'll do it again. And I'll do it again. I mean, they rode up to the village with their friend's corpse, honey. Like, I mean, and they rode up with Perrin's tethered in a Telfar, honey. They rode up. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? And so, he and his friends were disowned. They were disowned like they were black kids coming out as gay to their parents in the Bible Belt. They got disowned and rejected. Oh, y'all talk about peace and love and peace, but you're going to reject your own flesh and blood. That's what they do. That's how they do. Just like black kids coming out to their parents in the Bible Belt, they got rejected. I mean, they done took their birth certificate back because that mama looked at his face and said, I had a son once with a face like that. What you mean? You done deleted your name off my birth certificate? What you talking about, girl? I would do a blood test right now on you. Girl, don't play with me. Girl, don't play with me. I will sit down and do a blood test right now. Talking about, you're a stranger, and I used to have a son with a face like that, girl. I'll flip all these tables over in here, girl. Don't play with me. Don't play with me. They talking about they tried to kill us. They tried to hurt my sister. Like, what else were we supposed to do? They don't care about none of that, girl. They don't care about none of that. But yeah, this is how the Aiel that we know was formed. Like even the veils that they wear when they're about to kill, we can trace back to this time. Also, why they use swords, right? I guess the guys' swords are basically they're a full weapon and forbidden by the way of the leaf, but at least we can put food in the pots with a spear or something like that. I'm like, all right, girl, whatever makes you feel better. That's the same thing I'd be feeling about Perrin and his axe and hammer. I'm like, girl, they can both be used at the same amount of viciousness. And so, but I'm like, all right. So this was the kicker, because they talk about, oh, I'm gonna protect them. Since they can't do violence, I'm gonna protect them. And I'm just like, girl, when I say they would all be laid out like dust, you see what I'm saying? Dust blowing on the wind, messing around with me. That's what their bodies would be. That's what their bodies would be. Because if y'all don't want me to fight, I'm definitely not going to fight to protect y'all. You mean you disowned me for fighting to get your daughter back? And you gonna look in my face saying, oh, you ain't no son of mine. I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all gonna have to defend yourselves. And guess what? Since y'all don't do that, it's giving ashes to ashes, dust to dust. That's it. So back in the real world, Rand sees Moiraine losing his mind, Moiraine, whatever his name is, losing his mind, clawing his eyes out. He can't handle what he's seeing. All right? Moraine acts like a rude white tourist and snatches up an artifact. She act like just the Karen white tourist that she is, sees an ancient artifact and snatch it up and put it in her pocket, just like the white woman that she is. Just like the white woman that she is. She snatched up the Secarnan, honey. So she leaves there and shows up to where the rings are, which I love how they adapted it. It looks amazing. I loved how, Avienda and Moraine was floating in there. This is behind the scenes picture of how it looks like for them to film it. It's so cool. But yeah, I really loved it. So it snatched up Moiraine, and then we see different timelines that Moraine sees, right? Including, one of her as the Amyrlin, killing Rand with the one power, her releasing the bond from Lan, her bonding Rand dead, or her being killed by Rand. It's just a lot. Her swearing herself to Rand. So many different timelines. Like she said, thousand timelines. So now we're back to Rand as Luwin's great-grandfather. According to this timeline, his name is Jonai. And this vision, if I'm getting this right, is when some of the Daishine Aiel, who are the ancestors of the Gen Aiel, and Gen Aiel are the modern Aiel that we know now. So this is when some of them became Tuathan, which is to say they abandoned the oaths that Aes Sedai gave them to watch over the Sarkonnen and also Evander Sora, and they split off from, I guess, Jonai. Like at the end, we see that Jonai sets up shop where the Aiel Waste is, right? Or the place that would be called the Aiel Waste, right, in the future. So yeah, the others who are breaking off tell Jonai that they're going south. They say that the Aes Sedai have killed the last man who can channel, and the earth is settling. We'll find some place safe, some place we can sing the songs of harvest again, of course, referring all the way back to that vision with Lanfear. So Jonai tells his son, your mother saw great things, a city in the desert. It gives like Dreamwalker tease that, his wife was a Dreamwalker, a place we Aiel can go and be safe with no one to hurt us. It's east toward the dawn, across the spine. Then we see Evander Sora with the Secarnan, and he says, my grandfather told me to look after this tree, and someday you will too. So that's how we end up across the spine. Like that's how Rhuidean ends up being built in the first place, right? So then we go to Jonai's grandfather, or Jonai's ancestor, the person who told him to take care of the Secarnan. Now, this seems to be pretty soon after the world has broken, if I'm not mistaken. He's meeting with Latra Sedai, of course, the older Sedai. She's the older Sedai we saw later on. So the Aes Sedai charged the Aiel to keep watch over the Secarnan And even though this Aes Sedai here disagrees, Latra says, yes, we've killed and stilled many of the men who are responsible for breaking the world, blah, 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 but some still live in madness, and I don't want them to find a woman to work with. Don't forget, it was our sister, Moiraine Sedai, who tore open the Dark One's prison and took the name Lanfear. I was like, oh yeah! So they tell them that Kalimdor can't be reached because it's in a fortress, its safety is entrusted to war and fear. It's behind, we already know, was behind those the threads of one power that apparently only the dragon could get behind, blah, blah, blah. But they want to trust this one, the Sekarnan, to peace. So here is where the Aiel make the oaths where they're just, like, we're going to take care of the Sekarnan and make sure that you get it back when you want it. She said, keep moving until you find a place of safety, until no one can harm you. She charges them with keeping the way of the leaf. And then they made this version of Rand's ancestor at least like bisexual or whatever, because he's here with his partner here. And I'm just like, for the people who are mad about this, I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you watching the show? Why are you watching fantasy? We've already seen that there have been 3-way relationships, and so who knows what could, and it's magic on top of that. So who knows what they could use the magic for? Like, oh my gosh, how could it be Rand's ancestors if they're gay? I'm just like, girl, what? We don't know what's going on, how long his life was, if it's his first partner, last part. It's just, oh my gosh, save it. So I love this shot because the atmosphere looks terrifying and the buildings look so awesome. I need an Age of Legends show so bad. Like, so bad. So the last vision is of Lanfear tearing reality a new one. Do you hear what I'm saying? So Moiraine Sedai was telling Char here to go down there and be with his family because tomorrow everything will be different. And boy, was she right. Okay. By the way, the big ball here that they were in, they're suspended in the air, was a research institute for experimenting with the one power. That's a very simplified version. Aes Sedai made it just because they could. So yeah. So Moiraine Sedai, who will become Lanfear, says that she's found another like big power source behind the thinnest part of the pattern, and that's why they're there. And this power can be used by like everybody. She's not just Aes Sedai, not just Luce. She says like everybody can use it, and it doesn't seem like it has the same kind of restrictions as the one power. So even like the harvesters down there who can't channel the one power like that or don't channel can use it. Of course, the floating building, the Sharum, I think is what you call, that's how you pronounce it, was destroyed because Moiraine tried to punch through that thinnest part of the pattern to get to the power, but she ended up unleashing the Dark One. And it's like, girl, you got some power, all right. And I loved how the breach or the bore, whatever, looked, because it really does look like a fracture in reality itself, and how he's just over here staring, just gagged. Like, dang, can you imagine you show up to work, like researchers and stuff, and then your good sis Moiraine Sedai done messed the whole world up. It's just like, well, what did you do, girl? Lanfear, what did you do? And then more importantly, I'm wondering like how she went from this to swearing the dark oaths. Like maybe when she opened the board, whatever, when she drilled a hole initially, maybe the Dark One came to her and said, girl, I'm going to tear you up if you don't, or tear up the whole, like, I just want to know what happened in this moment to have her swear these dark oaths and take a different name. Okay, so we go back and we see that the dragon marks are forming on Rand's arms. He finds Aviendha, who sees both the tattoos, and she's gagging, of course. Rand says he didn't understand before clearly, but like now he knows he has much to learn. He'll never fully understand. Aviendha says she's going back to the tents, but Rand says that he won't return without Moiraine. So speaking of she's going through, she's seeing things. She's screwing Rand in one scene. Then we get another scene where all our girlies are forsaken, which was cool. Then she's also screwing Lanfear, but then Lanfear starts choking her out. Like, she's getting killed by Lanfear over and over and over and over. I'm like, yo, get up off my good sis neck, Lanfear. Back at the tent, Egwene is just like, you know what? It's been 7 days that Rand's been there. Aviendha came back 2 days ago. Like, this is, oh my gosh. Lan tells her we need to chill, but I love how Egwene's face is like, all right, girl, I'm gonna chill for like a couple more hours, but like, you got maybe another day out of me before I get up and go into Rhuidean myself. you know? I want your opinion here. Is Lan crying because he's just, emotional about Moiraine, or also because he can, like, feel what she's feeling with the bond too, kinda, a little bit? Like, what do you think? Maybe both? So the showrunner Rafe said that during this scene, they had things written out that the characters were going to say to each other and talk about, but he said that the beautiful sunrise, the scenery, and just the emotion of Rand carrying Moiraine up, and the way that the actors played it out, he said that was enough. They didn't need any words, and I completely agree. And I do love this touch of Lan trying to connect with Moiraine, right? And Egwene also trying to look into Rand's eyes and connect with him after Rhuidean. But Rand and Moiraine are just focused on each other because it's like, oh my gosh, what did we just see? Like, I just love that Lan and Egwene are trying to make this connection, but because of the profound nature of what Rand and Moiraine just went through, that they're just like still reeling from it, But yeah, like, we could really break it down even further. This was one of the best episodes of fantasy TV, and I read in the books when he goes to Rhuidean, and like the fact that they took all of that information, all of that history, and squeezed it down into a little over an hour and made it feel seamless, and visually it was astounding, and emotionally it was impactful. I'm just like, y'all know what y'all doing. Some people are mad at Rafe and the showrunners for excluding Matt from like, I should say spoilers, but child, it's too late for that. Excluding Matt from this scene because in the books, Matt also went with Rand. But I do like this change here because Moiraine and Rand have this really important moment to me that draws them even closer than they are now, and I think it will help them see from each other's perspective. It would just help smooth out this relationship that's been a little rocky, I just like that being a Rand and Moiraine thing. And on top of that, because of what Min saw in the White Tower about Matt and him swinging from that whatever, like, we know that the thing that was supposed to happen to Matt in Rhuidean is going to happen anyway. It's still going to happen because Min saw it. So, like, I don't think that this is a big issue. I really love how it just came together, and the fact that we are solidifying Rand and Moiraine and getting that, because they going through, like I said, a little bit of tricky troubles together. But I think this will help smooth it on out from here on out, right? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out my other reviews. I reviewed episode 1 through 3 as well. I'm going to talk about the entire season. Hope you had fun listening, and I'll catch y'all later. Peace. Make sure that you're going to www.zeraxia.com. When you join the waitlist there on the site, you will be the first to be notified when I drop my sequel. Also, you'll immediately get chapter 1 of my upcoming sequel of the upcoming book sent to your email as a PDF. So check that out. Also, this is a different excerpt from my upcoming book, so you definitely want to pause to read if you're trying to get your life. Keep in mind that this upcoming book, the sequel, is following up the first book that is already released called Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King. I released it a few years ago. It was my introduction to writing fantasy and stuff. So just go easy on me. But either way, as you can see here, it's given 4.9 stars. So yeah, check out Zeraxia, Wrath of the God King while you wait for Zeraxia, The Vengeance of Coldwind, right? And go to Zeraxia.com, sign up, join the waitlist, get your free chapter. Thank you so much.